Hello everybody, this is Oak Tree Tarot Reader here and welcome to my pick a card video. So today I thought we'd do the question what you think they are like versus what they are actually like. So this person that you maybe have a crush on them, maybe you have an interest in them, maybe you're just curious about them, and you have a particular idea about them, but in fact they are perhaps a bit like something else. So we're going to have a look at that, what you think they're like versus what they are actually like. So I want you to remember that this is a general reading and it's not going to resonate completely with you, and it's not going to reflect every aspect of your person of interest. It's just for entertainment purposes only. So what I want you to do is bear that in mind as you make your choice. So close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and really think about your person. Let go of any real preconceived ideas about them. Just let your brain be emptied and keep your focus on them. Picture them in your mind. And when you feel ready, make your choice. Trust your instincts. Don't overthink it. When you've made your choice, click on one of the timestamps that are in the description box and pinned as top comment. If you want a bit more time to do that, then please press pause, because I'm now moving on to the readings. Okay, those of you that chose number 1, this is your reading. Put that up there. Might be stretching a lot across. Right, so I've chosen these cards to represent how you view this person. Of course, because this is generalised and I've sort of split it into what you think versus what they really are. Some of you might find that the positions are reversed. That's fine, just adapt what I'm saying to match. You know, if you find that this description and these cards matches how you've always seen them and this is a revelation, then that's fine. But for the majority of you, this is how you see this person. So we've got the 7 of Cups, 8 of Wands, King of Wands, and 10 of Cups. So you see them as somebody with a lot of options. They have a lot of choices. 7 of Cups. They're on their way up, and it's just simply a matter of which direction they're going to go. That they've got a map in front of them and all the options, and they're literally just going to be going off. It almost feels for like some of them that you feel like you're the person looking at the map wondering what to do next, whereas they're already pointing the way and thinking, I'm going up there, which looks remarkably out of reach, yet to them is not, because they're pointing and they have every intention of going there. You know, to my mind, the picture actually looks like a couple that are deciding, you know, she's saying I want to go there, and he's looking and saying, okay, I'll look on the map and see which way we go. But I think that you think they have a lot of options, a lot of choices, and that some of you think that maybe that choice doesn't include you. But that's how you see them. Someone with lots and lots of options. Lots of imagination probably as well. Lots of creativity. Emotional diversity as well. This isn't a staid person. They have the ability of great emotional complexity. They seem to be just moving quickly. 8 of Wands, moving fast. Things are moving. They're a mover and shaker. They have capabilities. I think you value this person very, very highly. That they are multi-talented. You know, 7 and 8. They're multi-talented. That it's just, they can do anything. It's just literally a matter of, well, which way are you going to go? There's nothing that this person can't do. King of Wands. King of Wands. Full of passion and drive, experience. This is an empowered person that knows their stuff. They're so multi-talented that you just see them as a very high value person. I almost feel that you might see them as untouchable. that they're untouchable, they're unreachable for you, that this is somebody so far out of your reach, it's unbelievable. But there's lions and power and the light shining out from them. And, you know, it's almost like you can't help but look at this King of Wands. Whether it's female or male, it doesn't matter. You know, they have strength and ability. And I think intelligence and drive and talent. And that they're using it. Yeah, they're fiery and strong and principled. You also see them as somebody that you could have a happy family with. Because the Ten of Cups is the emotional, you know, it's the happily ever after. Emotionally content, everything's secure, the family is set. And because it's the cup, it's about emotions more than providing. This isn't about having a mansion to live in and the engorged pension and the grandkids are being paid, private school fees are paid up and everything. This is about we are together and all we need are each other, and we'll sort out all the other problems along the way. This is somebody that you really feel that you could have a deep connection with. You either want a deep connection or you have a deep connection, or you know, at the very least you see them as a kindred spirit. Because look at those two. But you see, I think actually you see them as your match. So, I mean, that's good, because that must mean that you see yourself as capable of all those things. But yeah, you see them, and I think they're warm and loving and family orientated. Ten of Cups people are family orientated. They're invested in the emotional well-being of their family, the people around them, their tribe, you know, their family, friends, and probably other people as well. There's a lot of empathy in the sense of Ten of Cups. Just thinking there's anything else I can see. I think overall you think they're wonderful. So let's move on. What are they really like? Does this person live up to the pedestal that I think you've put them on? So let's start off with the Green Woman. That's the Empress. This is boding well already. Move that up. The Great Bear. The Seer, that's the High Priestess. And the Archer, that Chariot. I mean, 4 major arcana cards. There are absolutely no like kings or queens or anything here. Well, I mean, they are as empowered as you perceive them to be. And in fact, I'm going to have to say to you, you've underestimated them. You've underestimated them. It's not very often you get the chance to say that, but you actually have not seen the whole of what this person can do. This is very much a person that's destined to make a mark. And when I say destiny, I don't mean like it's all foretold in the stars or whatever. We all have potential, but not all of us fulfill it. Now, whoever this person is, whatever phase of their life that they're in, maybe they're having a swimmingly easy journey or actually a deceptively difficult journey in life. However long it's going to take them, they will reach their destination. And to be honest, I get the impression that there probably has been a bit more hardship than some of you realise, and it's only making them stronger. Do you know what I mean? It's the resilience that they're building. Let me explain. I'll just go across. She's an empress, this lady, or this man. You know, whether it's a lady or a gentleman you're asking after, they are empowered. They are fruitful. They're manifestors, but it's not like the magician where it's using your skills to drum up something out of nothing. You give the empress something, and she makes with it, you know. I always use the phrase because it just works so perfectly. If you give her a seed, she'll plant it in the ground and grow the wheat, she'll grow the crops. If you give her the seed, she'll, you know, be impregnated and deliver a baby. This is somebody, you give this person something small, they can make something fruitful from it. Give them the kernel of an idea and it's developed into a full-blown thesis or, you know, report or invention. They're a great manifester, but in a natural way, in an organic way. They're very fruitful, he or she, this person, very fruitful in themselves. And you got the impression of that through this sort of King of Wands, you know, who gives the impression that this is a creator, somebody that the light shines from, that the ideas flow from. You really have no idea. There's a lot more going on in this person. What are they really like? Actually, I think you get the impression that they're very welcoming, that they're moving forward, that they're welcoming. You know, there's an open-hearted feel because of the Ten of Cups. They're actually much harder nut to crack than you think. So, I mean, I don't know how well you know this person. They're quite welcoming. But then when you're trying to get into the core of them, who they really are, you know, almost like this feels like you might get to know them, but I bet you actually haven't been past their front door. You might be getting to know them and they're lovely and welcoming, but, you know, if you're thinking about a romantic relationship with them, you might find that it's much harder to be intimate with them than you anticipate, if that makes sense. But they're very cautious and guarded about who they let into their inner world, their secret safe place. If you get past that the great bear, through into their secret sacred place, their home, you are, I think, one of the privileged few. I bet many people don't actually get to go to their house and sit in their lounge in their living room or in their kitchen and whatever. They're probably very warm and welcoming in many other ways, but actually I think this speaks to me of being somebody quite territorial. You know, it's the Judgment card, so I think they also have good judgment. They have good understanding of the impact of things, the impact of actions. I think they are a carefully studied person. I mean, we've got the High Priestess as well, but I think that there's somebody who understands the law of nature, the nature of people, the nature of why people do things. This is, I think, somebody that really understands human nature and has an empathy and a sympathy for that. That they have the capability of seeing, I think they just can see through the rubbish. I don't think this person's necessarily going to be that easy to deceive, partly because they're very protective over what's important for themselves. So they're going to make you sort of do the 12 challenges of Hercules or something to get, before they're going to let you in the house. But I don't think that they're an unjust person. I think they're capable of being sensitive and kind, because of the Empress and the Seer, the Green Woman and the Seer. But also it's about forgiveness and about karma and about recognising responsibility. This is a grown, mature soul. It's like an old soul feel to it. So is what I'm saying, you haven't really got the true measure of this person. If you haven't really got to know this person very well yet, and you do, I think that once you're in with this person, this is a great person to be around, and they will be loyal to you to a fault. But I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure as forgiving as you would like if you do something awful to them. Like, they'll forgive the small mistakes because they understand the foibles of human nature. They understand that people make mistakes and that things go wrong and things are outside of our control. But if you did something like cheat on them or lie to them actively, not like a lie of, oh, I'm sorry, I can't get you that Christmas present that you want, and then all of a sudden it's there for them to unwrap on Christmas Day. I'm not talking about those kind of lies. If you cheat on them If you say that, you're going to do something that's really, really important to them, and you purposefully decide to not do something, like betray them in some way, they're not going to forgive that. And this is an empowered person. This person does have other choices. They will move on and leave you behind, to be blunt. And we've got the seer. This always, reminds me of the tarot reader, but this is a spiritual person. This is a smart person, a learned person. She has a spiritual nature. So even if the person that you're interested in, he or she, isn't really into tarot or spirituality in astrology in the terms that it takes now, they are a spiritual person. It might come in the form of religion for them, but they are a spiritual person with a strong sense of morals. They have a strong ethical code that they stick to, but they are also smart. This is a person that's read a lot of books, that has learnt a lot of things, that really pays attention. I know she's got her eyes closed, but this is because she can channel the information through like the pond. So I think that this is somebody that can take information, and we live in an information age where it's so easy to access stuff, and I think that he or she can create a bigger picture from what they see. So they might sort of read a few news articles, listen to a bit on the radio, go on Twitter for a bit, and they get an overall picture of something, because they have the capacity to see the wider picture and make something from something small. Yeah, they just have empathy and kindness. That the High Priestess is a spiritual, tranquil lady with a lot of intuition. The High Priestess has a lot of intuition, but also a lot of knowledge. I bet this person's read a lot of books, has quite a wide, diverse knowledge. Maybe an in-depth knowledge of a few things, but actually quite a varied knowledge of quite a lot of things. Because they're probably a lot smarter than you realise. And finally, the Archer. It's a Chariot. They're determined. Again, I get the impression that they're much more determined and much more on target than you think. They've got their eye on something. They're going to get it. And they've got something to give. The arrows, that's her like gift to the world. That's her intentions. That's her purpose. And she is withdrawing back, and she's going to take aim. So I think this person probably does have some sort of plan, or more generally for their life, or I'm going to have to say, even if there's nothing much big going on for this person at the moment, when the opportunity arises, when there's something going on, they are very determined. You won't be able to distract them. If they're like got a project to do, if they're in work and they've been given the responsibility of doing some research for a project, bearing in mind the High Priestess, that you're going to come home from work and they're just devotedly doing the research they need to do. They will pay attention to you. They'll still cook the meal. They'll still sit down with you or go out with you and chat with you. But half their brain is going to be on their next project. So this person has the capacity to have their own inner world and be distracted by it. Because I am reminded of the fact that she's got her eyes closed and she's focusing on what she's doing. The seer here. This is an interesting person that you've got your eye on, or that you want to know more about, or you're doubting if you understand them properly. They're a very interesting person. I bet they're a great conversationalist. And just again, if you're the one that they have their attention on, you don't need to worry. They're not gonna be distracted from that. If this is like a life partner that it's a husband or a wife that you're thinking of, the vibe I get here is that they will be quite loyal because they have this moral code. That's an interesting read. I enjoyed giving that. I really hope it actually does sort of match your person. Obviously, this isn't all of them. There are other parts to them, and remember that we're all different depending on the circumstances that we're presented with. We all have to adapt and change and make decisions based on what's presented in front of us. So That's where the uncertainty of life comes in, and the uncertainty of people is you don't know exactly what they're going to do under any given circumstance. So always remember that, generally anyway, when you're thinking about people. So I hope you enjoyed it. Remember that it's just a bit of fun. Don't make any important decisions based upon this tarot reading. This is just to give you a little bit of extra information. And I wish you all the best of luck. Please take very good care of yourself. Thank you very much for listening to me, and goodbye. Okay, number 2. How do you see your person versus what they're really like? So I want you, before we start, to reiterate that this is just a bit of a general reading. Don't make any serious decisions based upon what this says, because this isn't going to reflect every aspect of this person. It's just going to give us a general insight into the bits really that you've missed about them. So I just want you to remember that. So this to me is the pile of how you see them, and this is what they're really like. But bearing in mind that it's a generalised reading aimed at quite a lot of people, what I want is that if you find it's the other way around, that's fine. You're just going to have to mentally change and swap around what I've said. So, how do you see them? The Hermit. Interesting. Make sure you can still see. The Star. That's lovely. Oh, the Hierophant. 3 major arcanas. And the 3 of Cups. So, you have a high regard. I think you see them quite clearly. This is quite clear, straight to the point energy. The Hermit. I think that you look at them and see them as somebody who's a bit too isolated. I think that you feel that they're a bit distant from you, untouchable, that you don't really know an awful lot about them. They do seem quite... they feel like a mentor or a teacher to you, so they know more, that you feel that you're learning from them. So they seem quite wise. You know, they've got the lantern. They go off into the dark to learn things and come back with the information for you, so you don't have to. You can learn from their wisdom. So they're a wise teacher for you. And that actually is emphasised again in the Hierophant, which is again sort of a mentor, a teacher. Teach me your wisdom. You feel that this person really has a lot to offer you in the terms of their knowledge. So... this doesn't feel that you have many in the way of romantic feelings towards them. I think that you admire them because of what they know, because they're smart, because they have knowledge. I think this is a smart like a wise person, like a wise owl. Somebody like a spiritual mentor even. Somebody who helps you understand things. But they feel distant from you. You feel that you don't really know. You really know them. Because we've got the Star as well, so you see them as pure, that you see them as untouchable. I do really feel that there's a lot of distance, that what you think about them, what you know about them, is based purely at what you know from a distance. That there's a lot to them. There's a lot. I feel that you just see only the good side of them. You're not aware of a bad side. Doesn't mean that they don't have one, because we all have one, of course. But that you don't see, or you don't think that their bad side is that bad at all. Yeah, they're just somebody distant to you, untouchable. You can't touch, you can't access them. And clearly you want to, because you're watching this video to try and get an insight into what they're like. Anyway. But yeah, you see them as smart. Someone to offer and teach you a lot. But I think you do see them as a friend. I think that you see them as somebody that to have fun with, to have entertainment with. So if this is like your teacher, you enjoy their lessons. You look forward to going to their lessons, and it's a joy to do your homework. That kind of feeling. If this is a friend, then they absolutely are a friend, and you know that you can rely on them. But they're a friend that you don't really know them. But, you know, it's almost like they always know the answers to the pub quiz. I can't really go any more into that, because actually there's just this constant separation, distance from them, that they're there to, they're a mentor for you, they're there to teach you things, and that you believe they are very, very wise and you value them and appreciate them, but there's this untouchable quality to them that you're really putting them on a bit of a pedestal. And I think as well with the star, we mustn't forget that the star comes after the tower moment in the story of tarot. And so there's a feeling here that you know that their wisdom has come through experience. Yeah. So what are they really like? This is going to be interesting. What are they really like? The journey, that's death. Let's see if I can put that up and make a bit more space. Death. Six of Arrows, transition. Oh, Queen of Bows here. Ancestor. That's interesting because that's basically the Hierophant card in the Wildwood Tarot. So there is a certain, you have got a certain measure of them because you've got the Hierophant as well. So let's start at the beginning. What are they really like? We've got the journey here, which is death. One of the things that I always remember when I'm trying to apply this as to a person is that the ravens are the protectors of the dead. I think it's specifically the dead after battle, but I think it's there to protect the dead. It's, you know, like the ravens in the Tower of London allegedly are there, that they were there to protect the heads that were, you know, from the executed traitors. They were put on a pole, and the ravens, you know, are there to protect them. I think they were just attracted to the fact that there was flesh there, but let's not get too gruesome. It's a gruesome enough image as it is. I think that there's somebody that's not afraid to progress and move on. They're on the journey of life and they accept that that means change and the shedding of old things. That some things die and other things are born out of what the carcass of it and are fed on the carcass of it. You know, this moose, reindeer, whatever it is, has died, but it's feeding the crows and allowing the crows to live. So I think there's an awareness that things happen. And I just want to say that this person believes that even in the bad, there's something to be found in it that's good. There's something there to be used out of it. It's like, well, okay, it's happened. Let's progress. Let's see the opportunities in this and let's move on. This is a person that's not going to dwell on things that hurt them or hold them back in life. And in a sense, that's sort of the star part. I think you have picked up on that. That this person does not want to become stagnant and immovable, that they want to shine and flourish and are full of hope and will progress. So I think that you have picked up on that. The Six of Arrows, transition. This is somebody that wants to keep moving. They're going to keep, I feel, educating themselves because it's a Six of Arrows. Remember, it's arrows are like the swords, the air element. It's thoughts, ideas, logic, words. So this might be a very articulate person, but somebody who's constantly developing their thought processes and developing their knowledge. This isn't somebody that's going to get a set of ideas when they're 18 and still believe them when they're 48, 50, 60. You know, they will progress and develop and mature in their intellect. So I think this is quite an intellectual person, which again, I think that you did pick up on because of the Hermit, where you get this impression that they are relatively smart, they are learned and educated and knowing, you know, this sense of a teacher. So yeah, they're definitely somebody that will keep moving on and forward into life. This is something that I don't think that you did pick up on, but this is in fact a very warm person. The Queen of Bows, it's like the Queen of Wands. He or she, whoever they are, but I'll refer to it as she because it's a queen. That she is passionate, warm, committed. If this is your friend, they are a deeply committed friend who will go out to fight for you. You know, if anybody's ever tried to pick up a rabbit, if they don't want to be picked up, they let you know, trust me. So this is somebody that you'd want on your side. They're actually very warm-hearted and actually a bit more of the life and soul of the party than I think that you give them credit for. Although actually you might be aware of that because of the Three of Cups. This sense that they can be quite fun to be around and entertaining. but definitely very warm-hearted and giving, but in a mature way. Very mature, loving and nurturing person, whoever they are. And next we've got the ancestor, Ellen of the Ways. This is a very ancient British goddess. So ancient they don't really know, how far, what her origins are, but it's all to do with the Ice Age Britain. And she's the goddess of pathways, of the route to take, this sense of the Hierophant of passing down of traditional knowledge, of passing down knowledge and heritage. So this is actually quite a traditional person, possibly more than you've anticipated, but again, a lot of you are going to have cottoned on to that. They're somebody that wants to honour the past and recognises that the path allows us to see the mistakes that other people have made before us so that we don't repeat them. And that's the danger of not knowing your history, is that we fall into the same traps our ancestors did. Whereas if we only read up on it and paid attention, we could have gone down the path that they have made for us. And Ellen of the Ways bangs her drum to remind us to go on the path that is safest. So I think this is somebody that wants to share their knowledge so that you don't make the mistakes that they have made, or that the mistakes that they are aware other people have made. This is somebody who wants to educate for the betterment of others. And I do think actually you have got this from this person. You've got that. You've picked that up. That they want to share knowledge, but I think that I don't think that you've realised that they will change and are always changing, and that perhaps for some of you, I don't think that you realise how warm-hearted they are and kind they are. And I think that's because of this sense of distance. I get the sense that a lot of you don't really feel that you can be close enough to understand this person fully. So that's your reading, those of you that chose option 2. I hope that it's helped you. I hope that it's resonated. So please let me know in the comments section if it's helped. Otherwise, I will leave you with it. Please take very good care of yourself. Thank you very much for listening to me, and goodbye. Okay, number 3 is, what do you think of your person and what do they really like? Just to remind you that this is just for a bit of fun, and to not make any serious decisions based upon this tarot reading, because it's just very generalised. It's not going to truly reflect everything about this person. It's just going to give you a comparison about what you think about them versus what they really like. So yeah, don't use it as a basis to make permanent or long-lasting, forever changing decisions. And again, I just want to say that this is how you see them. This is how I'm going to read it, that you see them like this, and this is what they're really like. But you might find that actually it's the other way around, in which case it's fine. You're just going to have to mentally swap them round, from what I say. So what do you think they're really like? How do you see them? 8 of Cups. The Tower. The Chariot. King of Swords. Okay, you see them as quite emotionally chaotic. How you see them. We've got the 8 of Cups and the Tower. You see them as somebody that causes a lot of chaos perhaps in life. They cause trouble and then they go off and leave it. That's how I see that. There's somebody that's always emotionally walking away. They're not afraid to emotionally move on. The 8 of Cups, they're willing to take the 1 cup and just leave all the rest behind and just swim off. So there's somebody that's, if you've been in a relationship with this person, I think that you're getting the impression that they're just gone. It's over, it's gone, they've moved on. And they've left chaos behind them. We've got the Tower card. That they upturn things. I mean, it might not be a case of that when you met them, it was like lightning struck your tower and changed everything. I mean, there are positive connotations to the Tower, which is, how do you see them? As somebody that struck your life, that maybe it was like love at first sight, or They just swanned into your life and knocked a few things around and they've forever changed it. You know, they've just made things different. You see them as somebody that's constantly moving forward, that they're constantly got a plan, they're constantly, they're ambitious. They want to be progressing all the while. They don't want to be standing still. They want to be travelling, doing adventuring. And it's important to remember with the chariot, it's not a loose chariot where the horses they've lost the rein of the horses and the horses are loose running off. In the chariot, it's a precision instrument where, you know, like the sat nav has been programmed and the course has been set. You see this person as somebody that creates plans and sticks to them and makes them happen. But I also feel that there's this sense of on the move again, that this is somebody always moving forward, moving on, not sticking around. Because for all the fact that there's this sense that they cause emotional chaos or that they are emotionally chaotic themselves, there's also this feeling that the King of Swords, that they're logical, that they can be a bit heartless, they can be a bit emotionless. It's all about the logic. You know, that the King of Swords here is thinking long and hard. He's using his wisdom, his logic, his knowledge. And under his foot is a skull, so he's aware of the human cost, the potential of death, you know, the weight of his decisions, and he's still sitting there to think it. He's not going to allow, he's got under his foot the price to be paid, and he's got control of that. He's not looking at it, it's oppressed, it's pushed down, and above him is his logic and his intellect and his knowledge. He is not going to let his emotions get in the way of a decision that he has to make. And I think that's how you see this person, that no matter what the cost, the decision will be made, and it will be made on facts and on reality. So I think you see them as a bit emotionless, and they're willing to just trample on everything and everyone in order to get what they want, and then they just bugger off again. And they just move on to something new. I think that's how you see them. So let's see if your harsh judgment on them is justified. This is what they're really like. 6 Vessels reunion. 2 of Vessels attraction. 8 of Arrows struggle. 3 of Arrows jealousy. They are way more emotional than you give them credit for. They have feelings so deep and you don't see it. We have got the 6 of Vessels reunion. This is about reconnecting. It always actually for me reminds me of like going home. It's going back to your childhood. It's the 6 of Cups. It's the things that know you joy. So this is actually a very nostalgic person. This person looks to the past with rose-tinted glasses and remembers all the good parts, and they'd like to go back there. Very much thank you. They're remembering the past of something. Whether it's simply they'd like to be younger, whether it's more simply they would rather have had a past relationship last, or whether it's like they'd rather go back to their old hometown where they grew up and where things seemed to make an awful lot more sense when they didn't have the responsibilities their parents did. And it's known joy. It's doing the things that you know make you happy. So this person has things that they know make them happy. They find joy in the familiar, the things that are familiar to them. They would not enjoy a tower moment. As much as maybe they have initiated tower moments in your life and theirs, they don't enjoy it. They don't enjoy it. And we've got the 2 of Vessels here. They want connections. They want love in their life. They want to be a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or they want friendships with people, good working business relationships. They want to be able to get on with their colleagues and the people around them. They definitely want to have equal emotions, people standing, and agreeing on things and sharing the cup and filling the cup up. They want connections with people. They don't want to be on their own. As much as this gives the vibe that they do want to go off and be alone. They don't really. They want to be in connection with people, whether that's a love relationship, friendship, or just being able to go to work and have a few friendly words with people in tea and coffee breaks. You know, way more emotional than you've given them credit for. They have, I think, they have depth of feeling, because we've got the 8 of arrows. For them, things are a struggle. What's really like for them, it's a struggle. There's all these arrows coming at them and they're constantly battling on over more. They've got their lantern to light the way, and they're well covered up against the snow. They're well protected. They've got good footwear, you know, and a stick to get through the snow. So they're not helpless by any means, but things just seem a struggle to them. Maybe they make things harder for themselves. I'm not saying that they're complete innocents in this. People can be very, very self-destructive and their own worst enemy, and maybe this person is. But they're finding it hard. They probably could be quite confused as to why things are going this way, when all they want to do is be friends with people and, you know, have peaceful connections. You know, they could be a right pain in the bum. But they don't see it that way. They just think, well, why are these things happening? It's just a struggle. Things are a struggle for them. This is what they're really like. They're a struggle. Maybe they're a struggle to be around, but they find it difficult as well. Makes me want to say that, like, autism or something, but I'm not making any kind of diagnosis at all. At all. This is a videoed tarot reading. I'm not making a diagnosis, but there's this sort of sense that I don't think they understand why things happen the way they do. And I think you don't either. Because I think that there's jealousy here. 3 of arrows, for me as well, always is, you know, it's like controlling emotions as well. That always comes to mind. I can't help it. But 3 of arrows here, jealousy. It's about being jealous. This is a person that feels things very deeply. The 3 arrows, I think, are to their heart. They feel jealousy and it hurts them. Jealousy hurts. It's a negative emotion and it's a destructive emotion, but it hurts to feel jealous, to feel that somebody has something that you want or you should have. I can never remember exactly what the difference between jealousy and envy is, but there is a difference between the two. But this person feels jealous and it hurts them, and it probably hurts you and everybody else around them, because they're probably not very nice when they feel that jealousy, but it hurts them. It sets their heart on fire, and this could be part of the problem. Maybe they're not very good at dealing with their emotions. And so what they do, rather than allow them to roam free and set fire to everything, they suppress them, which is why you see them as the King of Swords. That in fact, you know, it's their way of controlling their emotions rather than not having them at all in the first place. And this is probably why you get the sense that they just swan off and float away and emotionally move on. I don't think they do. I think what they do is they take this jealousy and take it with them away. So when they're emotionally moving on, they're moving on with the emotions. They're not dumping them on you. I think you're left with your emotions and they're taking theirs with them. And it's a struggle. If this is like a breakup, you're seeing the situation in one way, what's actually happening is something different. But they're jealous. They're jealous of other people, of things that they want that they haven't got, because everything's a struggle for them. So they're fighting and working hard. People forget this. Sometimes you work hard like a dog and you get nowhere. And it's so unfair, but that's life. And believe the things I've worked hours and hours and weeks and months on, and it's just gone nowhere. And I have to just sort of learn from it. And I think this is what this person's trying to do. But they're swarmed with a nostalgia of the way things used to be. And I think that's all I've got to say on that. It's I hope that it's helped you, that reading, but I don't think you actually see necessarily what's going on with this person. So, I mean, if this has whetted your curiosity, you can always talk to them more and try and talk to them and get it out of them. Whether, you know, this is true or not, or where the bridge can be found. between the two of you. So I'm going to leave you with that. I hope that it's helped you. Please let me know in the comments section if it's made any sense, resonated, and all the rest of it. Everything that you might need is in the description box, so have a look there. But otherwise, I will leave you with your reading. Please take very good care of yourself. Thank you very much for listening, and goodbye. Okay, those of you that chose number 4, here's your reading. I've been reminding everybody as I've been doing the readings to remember that this is just general, so don't make any important decisions about this person based upon the tarot reading. It's just to give you a bit of extra information, satisfy a bit of curiosity, and be a bit of entertainment. So yeah, it's not going to reflect everything about this person at all by any means. It's just trying to balance out what you know about them. So I'm reading that this is how you see them, and that this is what they're really like. But because it's so generalised and so many people will be watching it, you might find that for you actually it fits better the other way around. That's fine, just adapt what I'm saying to fit your person of interest. So how do you see them? Strength. You see them as really, really strong. 5 of Cups. 2 of Pentacles. And 9 of Pentacles. Okay, so you see them as a bit of a loner, a bit isolated. You do see them as very much in control of themselves, that this is a person with a lot of self-control. You might think that they, you know, for some of you, your person might come across as quite unemotional, or at least in times of great stress they don't lose their temper, or at least very rarely they lose their temper, that they have great self-control over, like, they don't overeat or they don't overindulge, or, you know, with the strength as well, it always reminds me of physical strength. So maybe they're somebody that goes to the gym a lot, and so if they're like, you know, because I know quite a few people that when they go to the gym they don't eat lots of foods and they eat a restricted diet because for whatever reason. This might be that person, that they're self-controlled in their life, in that what they want to, they aspire to, so they can control it, yeah, control emotions, self-control, control over impulses. I think that you see them as quite sad in some ways. You see them as quite sad in some ways, that they're grieving over something, that they might be more inclined to be depressive and reflective. There's a sense of emotional suppression here, really. So I think that either you struggle to see their emotions or their emotional range, or they purposefully hide it from you. Let's face it, because I don't know what your relationship is with this person. They might purposefully not show you their emotions. Maybe they're going through a period of sadness or disappointment over something. It's grief, it's sadness. And there's this sense of it being controlled. This is what you're seeing. But you're also seeing them as somebody that's juggling two things, that they're of two minds. Maybe they're somebody who, for all they've got self-control, can be a bit indecisive. And they are compatible. That a person can have great self-control yet struggle to make a decision. Because it could be a big decision that they've got to make and they can't make it. Or they seem to be somebody who's hopping from one foot to the other, can't do, you know, sort of makes a decision and then takes it back and swaps around. Or they're very busy, they could just be juggling lots of different things in their life, so they always seem to be spinning plates because there's just too much going on. And you see them as a loner, you definitely see them as a loner, isolated, that they amuse themselves, that they entertain themselves, that they tend to do things on their own to amuse them. They're very self-sufficient, they work and provide for themselves, you know, like self-employed even, but they certainly, that they earn enough to house themselves, feed themselves, clothe themselves. There's an air of solitary loner and an independent person here. So I think that you do see them as somebody that you can't really connect to, that you struggle to connect to. I think, yeah, you struggle to connect to them because I think that they're not overly emotionally open to you. That's the vibe I get from the 4 cards. That's how you see them. But I don't think that you see them as a bad person. I just think that you see them as alone. Let's see what they're really like. What are they really like? 7 of Rose, insecurity. Knight of Stones, Knight of Stones, horse. The Green Man, that's the Emperor. And Balance, that's Temperance. Right, so what are they really like? Crikey. Well, first of all, they're insecure. I think they've got lots of self-control and isolation. They're actually quite unsure of themselves. They feel constantly like that there are lots of words coming at them, so that maybe that they feel that they're under a lot of criticism and under a lot of attack. Maybe they are somebody that has to, maybe their job means that they have to put up with lots of, if you work like just for the public generally, you could work at a train station or behind the counter of something. Everybody's got an opinion and they think they can say whatever they like to you. And this just reminds me of that. But I just feel that there's an insecurity here that even that they're telling themselves that they're useless, that they're no good, that they're lacking in talent, that they're unattractive, that they can't achieve what they want. They're just insecure. They're insecure. And I don't think for 1 millisecond that they tell anybody about it ever. I think you'd have to torture them before they told you that. Don't torture them, by the way. This is actually a very sensitive person. Way more sensitive than I think that you give them credit for. This is why I think that they come across as so controlled and isolated. I think that they're very, very sensitive. I think actually some of you have picked up on this because of this 5 of Cups. I think you sense this sadness around them. But it's not sadness, I think. It's sensitivity and vulnerability. And I don't think that some of you haven't really picked up on that, but it's not. It's sadness. It's vulnerability. Yeah. Knight of Stones. It's usually the Knight of Pentacles. This person is a really hard worker. If they've got to do a job, they will do it. And they'll do it to the best of their ability and they won't stop until it's done. This person could really overwork. This person would work themselves into the ground, even if it was self-destructive. And it's rooted in this insecurity because they've got something to prove. If you say you need to lift 10 stone of stones, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pounds of stones, and you've got to do it 1 block at a time, they'll do it. It doesn't matter if it ruins their shoulders and breaks their back and ruins every joint that they've got. They will do it. So they're in danger of overworking to the point of destruction. They work harder than you anticipate. They work longer hours, and the hours that they put in, it takes a lot more out of them than they let on. Because this person will not let on anything, because they can't show any vulnerability because of the insecurity. Strangely, because we've got the Green Man, which is the Emperor, they are a lot more authoritative than I think that you have given them credit for. Some of you really say, yeah, I understood that, but others of you have not. This person, it's like the Patriarch card. So whether it's a lady or a gentleman, it doesn't matter. I mean, this feels like male energy to me. But that this man wants to be the husband, the father, the one in charge. Like that, he wants his own way, the Green Man. He's protective, he's a provider, but he likes it his own way. That's sort of the payoff. So there's this sense here that it's not that he is unyielding and unnegotiable. You can negotiate with him, but it's through deference to his position. which would enrage quite a lot of people. It probably would enrage me, but it's sort of you negotiate with him, you know, with acknowledging his sort of, you know, the sense of power and control, because this is a, you know, you're all right in this sense of strength. This is a strong person, but he's just, he or she have got a lot more vulnerability than you, as I say, give them credit for. And I think for a lot of you are saying, how can that be in the same person, that they are both strong and vulnerable? Well, that's the wonderful beauty of people, that they are complicated beasts. And this one is definitely, I think there are lots of things that this person is strong and capable and in charge of, and have no doubts whatsoever, and could do it blindfolded, and they are strong and empowered and in charge, like the boss. They are the boss. They are strong and empowered, and some things that they will just be unyielding on. They like it their own way, and if they don't get their own way, they're going to let you know. But they are protective as well. They will protect you. They want to protect you, and they want to embody the more masculine energy. And again, back to the question, how can they have this vulnerability of insecurity and yet so much strength within them? Is because they're balanced. It's the temperance. They mix up their feelings. They balance them out. So the moments of insecurity are balanced out between the hard work and the empowerment. When this person feels vulnerable and insecure, and that they're not enough, that for whatever area of their life that they have this chink in their armour, they shore it up again by doing something that's really hard to do, that involves the hard work, and reflect on the things that they have power over and they have the strength in. But they balance out these two opposite sides of themselves. So actually they are a balanced person. They are quite well rounded. I think they're possibly a bit older. This feels like sort of 30 to 35 plus. That they've learned from their mistakes, from their insecurities, their weaknesses, and they are developing them into strengths. They're mixing things up. They're mixing up their life and creating a better one, creating this balance, so that they're not defeated all the time by their insecurities, by the mistakes, by the negative voice in their head. You know, they get mixed feelings about things. So the overwhelming need to dominate is balanced out by the recognition that there's an insecurity there, that they have a weakness. This is what they're like. They're complicated. People are complicated. But they are very much a hard worker. Very much a hard worker, and actually really balancing things out. Balancing things out and making them work. Finding their harmony in their life. I think this is going to be an ongoing project for them. They're blending and fusing and making sense of who they are. And that's probably why to you they seem quite isolated, because this is a personal journey for them. I don't think there's anybody else that can be on that journey with them. They can support them, they can help them, enable them, and all the rest of it, but it's very much a lone personal development journey that they are on. And that's why there's this sense of grief, because they're having to let go of some things and blending them with others to make the balance that they need. And I think it's to progress in life. I think there's things that they want to do and they can't do them while they're in their current space. They need to change in order to do that. So that's your reading, those of you that chose number 4. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know in the comments section if it's helped you or whatever. I will leave you with this reading, so please take very good care of yourself. Thank you very much for listening to me, and goodbye.